Good evening. Now, recently there's been a few short stories that have come across my attention. Since I have noticed that there is a distinct lack of audiobooks, at least ones that are readily available and free to use. So I figured, if there is a shortage, how about I fill that gap? So for everyone that, say, here's a shot in the dark, requires this story in order to fulfill a college paper, let's say. Just do something for an English class, or reading it for fun. But let's be honest, if you're reading these, it's probably for an English class. That's what I'm doing here. Alright, let's get started. The first one I am doing today is Tastes Like God by Yasmin Ramirez. Let's get started. I woke up hungry, a deep hunger down in the fissure of my belly. It called for a mental flip of a Rolodex of meals. I'd hope I'd find what I craved. I raced through my morning ritual of brushing my teeth, washing, and coiffing my hair. Before leaving, I paused in front of the white bathroom mirror. Today is going to be a good day. Today is going to be a good day. Today is going to be a good day. It had become a necessity 6 months ago. Each word came out with an exhaled breath, fell into the sink, and circled again. On the way to work, I settled on an Asiago cheese bagel. As I chewed, I lingered over the bready, moist ball I moved around in my mouth before swallowing. At lunch, I was still hungry. A shrimp po' boy sandwich, no. Chicken palm fries. Alone, I dined on a luscious meal of creamy Yukon Gold potato jalapeno soup, a spoonful dissolving on my tongue, the salad of tequila lime shrimp savory, plump, exploding in my mouth. I was happy, my stomach full, until I got back to work. I forced a smile the rest of the afternoon and answered phones only to give verbatim answers to customers who had the same questions about their home insurance as the ones I'd answered before. I gave Susan a toothy smile, a coworker who had made comments as if speaking to herself. "I hate this paper," as she pulled at her printer. Then she asked in a sugar-laden voice, which brought on an involuntary cringe, "Don't you hate this paper, Angie?" when I pretended not to hear. "Well," she said, "don't you, Angie?" All I could do was show as many gritted teeth as possible and hoped it passed for a smile. At dinner, I made my Edith's tacos, humming quietly as I cooked, thankful she had shown me the secret to making them. Ground beef and potato seasoned in a way only she could have taught me, a fried hard shell, layered with Munster cheese, crisp lettuce, a firm tomato wedge, a white onion sliver, a red chili de arbol salsa. I chewed, letting each bite take me back to her small yellow kitchen when she was alive. "I've been so hungry," I said, "but I don't know what I want." I watched her cook sizzling refried beans with cheese in a heavy black pan, only the back of her reddish-brown hair, and a French twist held together by numerous bobby pins visible. "Nothing sounds good," I complained, arranging salt and pepper shakers and other condiments in the center of her yellow plastic flower tablecloth. "Tienes hambre de Dios!" Her voice sang out operatically as she looked at me with her left eyebrow kissing her hairline. "A hunger for God," she joked. "Aita." My laugh echoed in the kitchen as I remembered. The rest of the meal, I heard her voice singing out, "Tienes hambre de Dios!" as I reached for another taco, then another. Days later, I continued to eat everything I came into contact with. I felt like a badly shot gun taking out everything in my sights. I ate butterflied garlic bread with pasta al dente and a creme sauce, the richness satisfying the growing empty ache inside me. I ate Skittles and Starburst, hoping the sticky sugar would nauseate me into submission. I ate a greasy Jumbo Jack at 2 a.m. from Jack in the Box and a thick, creamy spoon of peanut butter in my kitchen at 7 a.m. I pressed it against the roof of my mouth and let the clump of thick peanut butter dissolve as I stared out the darkened window of my kitchen. The moments before it melted away, I felt my chest relax. Then the tightness I had become accustomed to returned. I went to the grocery store and ate while I shopped. A man stopped to ask me if I would be paying for the eaten apple, pear, and candy bar. I raised my left eyebrow and looked down at the cart filled with rotisserie chicken, Lay's, holy guacamole, bloody ground beef, and asked, "What do you think?" Melted chocolate not yet swallowed in my mouth showed him a gooey spiderweb, only there to trap more food. Each time I ate, I heard my Ita's voice. "Tienes hambre de Dios!" Weeks went by, and the hunger would not elaborate. Only when eating did I feel the breath move easily in and out of my body. Desperate to stop, I went to the first church I saw. "Tienes hambre de Dios!" I heard again, as I walked into the stained glass cathedral. I knelt and crossed myself as I'd been taught before, taking a seat in the pew. I waited for the calm I needed to overcome me. I smelled the scent of candle wax and incense. I remembered sitting in a similar church, on a similar pew, only not so alone. The white-robed priest stood in front of a full congregation, speaking of goodwill and loving thy neighbor. We had gone to Spanish Mass every Sunday, without fail. Each time the Mass got to the handshaking portion, I leaned towards my grandma. "Ita, I don't want to shake people's hands," I whispered, wiping my damp palms on my jeans. "You have to," she hissed back. "Wouldn't you give your hand to God?" I slouched, my 10-year-old body making a question mark against the unbending pew, and looked at my scuffed Vans, ashamed. It wasn't until everyone stood to shake hands when the shame faded and I began to fiddle with my shoelaces to avoid people. My grandma was ready for me, though, and elbowed me in the side. "Peace be with you," I mumbled as strangers' hands grasped my palm and squeezed. Their hands felt dry compared to my clammy palm, or clammier, which made my mouth twist even more. The 2 minutes felt longer than the Mass, but done, Ita looked at me and smiled, as if to say, "See?" with her eyebrow raised. Now I sat staring at the empty seat beside me and waited for the hunger to subside, but it only seemed to worsen. My stomach's growls a crescendo, my insides twisting and turning in on themselves. My stomach contorted into knots, and a hunger pain wrenched through me so strong I doubled over. My black loafers lost in the darkness as I gazed up at Jesus with his open arms. He looked like a candied icon inviting me in. I was the only one among rows of chocolate pew bars and candied icons inviting me to take a bite. My cheeks burned, the flush creeping down my body as I leaned forward, my teeth sinking in, and I bit hard. I rolled a rich, smooth flavor along my tongue, water falling down to my hot center, with each bite a coolness extinguishing the burn of my mouth, my chest, my stomach. I couldn't stop. It hurt to. Before I knew what was happening, I was eating the pews. Then I ate St. Michael and St. Lazarus. I walked up to God and broke off his open-palmed hand and bit his thumb, the lightness of pound cake and the smooth, creamy flavor of tiramisu. I sank to my knees. God tasted better than anything I'd ever had. I ate and ate and ate until I thought I could eat no more. I finished God and went to the window panes, made of spun sugar. I ate the confessional box, and the combination of dark chocolate and nuts almost had me, but I still kept eating. I kept eating until there was nothing left but a dog-eared black leather Bible in my mouth, the pages folding back like layers of a light pastry turnover. Finished, I sat on an empty parking lot, my stomach swollen and distended. Just when I thought I was satisfied, I felt a tremble rise from my toes into my chest and into my throat, and my mouth opened. A great burp escaped, as well as a burning heave, which made my eyes water and sting. A piece of soggy, dog-eared Bible landed in front of me on the dirty floor, half-chewed. I looked down at the mutilated, flaky pages, then up, eyes damp, at the darkened sky. Absence of stars. And that was Tastes Like God by Yasmin Ramirez. Thank you so much for listening, and apologies for anyone who knows how to pronounce these things correctly, because I do not. I'll see you in the next video, I suppose. See ya.